The tide is high, the temperature is close to 70 degrees before 9 a.m. And AccuRite says there's some rain in the forecast. Do you believe it's AccuRite or is Accu wrong? Oh, Rex is doing a U-turn. He's doing a huge anticyclonic loop. No, that was a cyclonic loop. I gotta go hide from the wind, which is from the west and gusty. Very windy yesterday. Let's look up at the sky and the flag at the same time. The sky seems kind of white, kind of gray. It's an equal blend this morning of actual clouds made out of H2O and smoke, soot, hydrocarbons, particulate matter. And if we look at the vapor image, I'm gonna hide from the wind. How do I do this? If we look at the vapor imagery, you can see the channel of air coming from southwestern Canada right into New England. And if you look at the IR, you can see the cloud tops. So the difference is here in the IR, those are actual clouds for the most part, because those go up higher and register the temperature of the top of the cloud. So there are clouds and smoke over New England. And the visible satellite imagery is not that much easier to decipher, but you can see the milkiness and then the clouds. So it's an equal amount of cloud and smoke in our sky today. There's a front on the way. New England is now the place where fronts come to dry. Fronts come to die. You need diffluence aloft above a front, and we don't really have that once it gets south of Maine. So a vigorous front coming in from the north. This is the NAM high resolution. And you can see a good amount of rain there in western Maine, maybe a ½ inch to an inch with some snow mixed. And then by the time it gets down to southern New England, just a chance of a shower in the Boston area. The front goes off to our south. High pressure comes back in. It's gusty ahead of this front from the southwest today, probably gusting to about 35. And we do have the red flag warning, high fire danger. Anything so dry now, any kind of sparks can cause a fire to spread pretty quickly. I don't think that would happen right here in my backyard. Everything is pretty green here, but right on the ground, those fuels that are right on the ground, especially in the fields and edge of forests, probably be some fires going today. And tomorrow it's a gusty day also, but the temperature is going to be about 20 degrees colder, close to 80 today, and then closer to 60 tomorrow. We'll probably get a cleaner sky tomorrow. I think the air is coming more from eastern Canada than western Canada. It's cold air too. Tomorrow night with radiational cooling, we're going to be down in the 20s in a lot of spots inland. Hard freeze and frost. I forget the name of that bird. I know it. Is that a catbird, starling, something like that? It's very friendly. It hangs around all the time. So more fronts coming in. We're talking about the weekend potential on the south side of these strong high pressure systems that bring the cold air. You watch for fronts near the Gulf of Mexico to activate, and a little of that's going on. So over the weekend we have a front coming from the west, which by itself is nothing really to speak of unless we can tap that southern moisture. And it does look like we try and tap the southern moisture, but it's disjointed. So the front coming in from the west brings one batch of rain that tends to decay, and that air coming up from off the southeastern United States kind of just clips Cape Cod and the islands Saturday night. For anybody thinking of having a fun Saturday outdoors with graduations and weddings, rain comes into Connecticut probably about 2 o'clock or so. So there could be some rain in southern New England during the afternoon. But that two channels kind of stay separate, and most of New England's going to end up with negligible rain. Some of us may get close to an inch, especially west and north, and then south and east. But right in the middle of New England, looks like hardly any rain. That's Saturday night and Sunday, and then Sunday looks like a pretty nice day between fronts. The next front's going to come in Sunday night, and again, it comes in and tends to stall out and fade away. And that's going to bring in some cooler air again next Monday, and we'll be watching the southeastern United States again, hopefully next week for something to come north. But overall, for now, nothing really to wash away all the pollen. Still honoring the no mow May, and when I do mow, I'm going to let the grass seeds fall. I'm not gonna bag it, and hopefully natural reseeding going on in the yard. Although you can see it's very thick, And also, if you let your grass grow taller, it's more drought resistant. You don't want to cut your grass tight. And you got to do the hand watering. Got the first rose blooms that'll come out in the 1st of June. The peas are climbing fast, now passing about 15 inches in height. Lettuce is ready to harvest. And the bird, okay, the baby birds are 6 days old, and it's so fun watching and monitoring. Don't think that's the mother, but they do look like that. The mother always comes in low. She comes in down on the ground and walks on the ground and comes in because she doesn't want anyone to see where the nest is. Well, she knows I know, and I think she's cool with me. You can hear the peeping. Oh, the birds are starting to peep. I think. Nope, they're sleeping. That's the bird peeping at me from up there. Anyhow, they're just starting to develop wings. And they're sleeping and they're happy. So far, so good in the bird department. Okay, yesterday was an interesting day wind-wise and action-wise. Had some sailboats going out. So I'll leave you with some shots from yesterday, maybe a time-lapse of yesterday. Another smoky sunset with gusty wind at Bert's boatyard late yesterday. So the wind up on Mount Washington right now is 65 miles an hour, and some of that wind is going to mix down. So very windy today and tomorrow, high fire danger and low rainfall potential until further notice. Talk to you later. Not even done editing what is now yesterday's out the door weather and more. It's still May 15th, only 8:23 in the morning, but I just wanted to document the first sighting of full sail on a boat, for me anyway, this season, coming up the channel here in the Fore River with a nice westerly breeze. And you probably noticed a couple more boats at the moorings since the weekend. Yes, a lot of shrink wrap flying off the boats. And what do you do with all that shrink wrap anyway? Anyhow, good morning, sailboat. Quite a bit of action. Now we have sort of a flotilla of dockage being transported along the outgoing tide on the Fore River. Looks like they might be headed for Quincy or who knows where. Fun day of watching marine traffic. Getting gusts past 30 here. Burns. Wind is the hardest. That's smoke. And that's smoke. Doing some weed whacking and stuff just blows right over into Hingham. Smoky sky and contrail competition. There's an old one versus a new one. Who's gonna win? New guy coming in hot. So that's anthropogenic white line that turns into just a natural cirrus cloud after a little stimulation. So cool. Of course, there's a power line. Anyhow, it's really windy. We've had some gusts past 35 miles an hour, pretty much from the west-southwest. It just mixes down once in a while. So if the wind up around 5,000 or 6,000 feet is 50 miles an hour and you get good mixing, that's what happens. Very difficult to predict the wind. Or the contrails. Look at the difference in these two contrails right now. One is dissipating, one is growing. It's to do with the altitude and instability where they are. But they often happen well ahead of the next approaching weather system. Perhaps 0.03 inches of rain tomorrow night. Okay. Good night, everybody.